Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Wayne County. We're a diverse congregation that welcomes you as you are, regardless of your age, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, economic status, or physical ability. We come together to seek deeper meaning and understanding from each other and the world around us. Your presence here today is a gift that brings us closer to that understanding. We're an active community that lives its values beyond the hours of Sunday service, and I'd like to call your attention to the following announcements. First, shop at the Alternative Gift Market today, December 3rd, from 11:30 to 2 at the First Presbyterian Church. Browse display, that's in Worcester, by the way. Browse displays of humanitarian projects from around the world and purchases of $5 shares for those projects to give as gifts. Enjoy a delicious lunch with proceeds benefiting the local severe weather shelter. Purchase fair trade gifts. This unique market is hosted by the UUFWC and 4 other area churches. Second, join the UUFWC Humanists today at 11:30 in person in the large group room at the end of the RE hall. Krista Kidney will share a presentation about 180 housing, and then we'll have questions and discussion. And finally, Wednesday, December 13th at 6 p.m., we will hold a meditative service called Blue Christmas. The service is for those who struggle with the holiday season. More information will be shared in the coming weeks. If you'd like to find out more about these activities, feel free to contact Karen Skubik, who's our membership coordinator.
Thank you, Peter. And as he said, I'm the membership coordinator, and I was able to greet some of you as you arrived. And we had some visitors, some here for the first, second time, and maybe fourth time. And if you've never had the opportunity to introduce yourself, I got to warn a few people that you could introduce yourself now if you'd like to, and then we can chat with you after the service and know who you are. So are there any visitors here today who would like to introduce themselves? We're thinking. Okay. All right. There we go. I'm going to give you the microphone so everyone can hear. Sorry.
That's okay. Hi. This is our first time here. I'm Alicia. This is my daughter, Cambria, and this is Josh. And that's Ben up there in the Pikachu hoodie. We also have an 11-year-old, but he's not here because he stayed up too late playing video games last night. So maybe next time he'll come along. We've been trying to find a place. We found a place in Akron that we really liked, but we live in Rittman, so that's kind of too far for us every Sunday. So we're trying to find something closer, and we found you guys on the internet, and we really like the values and beliefs that you hold, so we're excited to be here.
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you so much. Anyone else who would like to introduce themselves? It's great to have you all here, and I hope you get to talk to somebody new maybe after the service. Thank you.
Good morning. Oh, that's a little loud. I am the Reverend Walter Clark. I use he, they pronouns, and I am the minister of this congregation. And I would like to welcome you all on a beautiful, foggy Sunday. I know it's a challenge for many of you to get out of bed when the weather's like this, and thank you for being here. I think the fog is good this morning because we're going to be talking about mystery and sitting into things that we don't necessarily know or understand and what that means to be in a place of not knowing, both the discomfort and the wonder of it. So now I encourage you to get into the spirit of reflection, the spirit of worship. Take a deep breath and let us get ready to celebrate for this hour. And I also encourage you to please put your cell phones in worship mode.
flashing and beaming, a sight we will ever remember. Though the dark night shine bright lights, bringing warmth to hearth and home. In the bitter winter weather, merrily twinkling and joyfully blinking, they dance as they glisten across the snow, sparkling and shimmering, glowing and glimmering bright lights of December. Glittering, gleaming, and flashing and beaming, a sight we will ever remember. Cold and dark December nights, warm and bright December nights, flickering candlelight glowing this winter night, warm on the lights of December. Illuminating, we find captivating the magic of flame and amber. Through the dark night shine the brightest lights, bringing warmth to heart and home. In the bitter winter weather, merrily twinkling and joyfully blinking, they dance as they glisten across the snow, sparkling and shimmering, glowing and glimmering bright are the lights of December. Glittering, gleaming, flashing and beaming, a sight we will ever remember. The lights, the lights of December.
The chalice lighting this morning is the poem No Matter What They Told You by Nita Penfold. No matter what they tell you, let it be about joy. Let it be about the sacred. Self-surviving, no thriving, shining its way to the knowledge within. Let it be about blooming, the unfolding universe, the unfolding of the universe through you, because the story of you began 15 billion years ago with that first flash of being. Let us now rise in body or spirit as we sing the opening hymn. The music can be found in the teal hymnal. It's number 1003. Where do we come from?
Now, this song is normally done in a round. We're going to go through each of the parts individually. They're going to be on your screen, how many times we do them. And then at the end, it's going to show all the different parts, and it's going to tell you to pick one and sing it twice. You know what? You do you. You're Unitarian Universalists. Make your own decisions. All right.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where
So much better than a few weeks ago. Y'all are doing great. Good morning. I was thinking the same thing about the fog this morning as I looked out at that, since we're talking about mystery. I wanted to take this time right now because we're going to have a story today. Our story is called Hide and Seek with God. So I want to invite anybody who would like to be closer, can come up front and sit on the carpet. You can sit in the chairs. The first rows are all wide open for you. So anybody who wants to come on up. We have some new friends with us today too, so make sure you say hello. And you can come up here by me too if you want. That's up to you. Whatever you want to do. Welcome. For those who don't know me, I'm Jenny Papp. I'm the Director of Religious Education in this congregation. And sometimes we do a story, sometimes we sing a song, sometimes we meditate. We do a lot of different things. Sometimes we throw confetti. We do all sorts of stuff during this part of the service. So, once upon a time, I'm not sure when, God was bored. And he was so bored, he said, I don't have anything to do. I need my friends to come play with me. So because God is God, there were all his friends. Or her friends. Or their friends. Not sure. But God said, I am bored and I think we should play something. And all the friends said, good idea, that's wonderful, what should we play? God thought for a minute and said, how about hide and seek? Let's play hide and seek. Does anybody ever played hide and seek? Who likes to be the hider? Who likes to try and find people? All right. Well, so everybody knows the game, right? Well, the friends all said, yay, let's play hide and seek. That is always the best fun game with God, because God always finds the best hiding spots, which makes sense, right? And they were always really exciting and different and cool. So the first person, well, actually, what do you have to do first when you play hide and seek? You got to close your eyes. Exactly. Everybody has to close their eyes. Well, the hiders, seek, whatever they're called, has to close their eyes and count to 10. So are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Coming to get ya. Well, except for God was hiding, and they all had to run and look for God. Okay? So it was a little different this time. And they went off. So one friend decided to look in the meadow and get really close. And so they went to the meadow, and they were like crawling around, and they saw this beautiful little sprouts of green grass. And they were trying to get up to the sun, and they were reaching, and it was really, really beautiful. And they ran back to home base, and they said, I found God. God is the green growing grass, and it is special, and it is wonderful, and it is amazing. I found God in the grass. Well, another friend decided to look for God in the nighttime. So as the sun was going down, she watched that happen. And then she sat and watched the stars come out, and it started getting quiet. All the workaday noises went away. And then all the lights in the houses went out. Can you imagine that? Yeah. And it was so dark. And then it became really still and really quiet. And she listened really hard. And what she heard was special and amazing and wonderful. And when it was so still that she could hear absolutely nothing, she said, I found God. And she ran back to home base. And she said, I found God in the nighttime. God is dark and peaceful. Well, a third friend looked on the earth, and really felt the mystery of that beautiful grass. And then they waited for the sun to go down and felt the wonder and specialness of the dark and the night and the stars. But when they finally came back to home base, they said, those were some really wonderful things that I found. But I'm not sure I want to call that God. So now we have their fourth friend. There was a fourth friend, and they decided to look for God where the people were. So in the afternoon, they went and found all the people coming home from work, and they went to the store with the people, and the people went in and went shopping and got some food. And then they went back out onto the street. And they followed the people home. And at one point, someone came up to them and said, I am so hungry. I don't have any food. Would you have some food that you could share with me? And the people said, absolutely. We could share this with you. And that person was watching and said, I found God. And they ran back to home base. And they touched home base. And they said, I found God. And it was special. And it was wonderful. And it was amazing. I found God in people who care for other people. Well, there were a couple more friends looking for God. And two of them decided maybe they could do it together. So they went off to look for God. And they saw a house, and they said, I want to look for God in this house. So they went into the house, and then there was a room. So they said, we're going to look for God in the room. But in that room, there was a big mirror. And they said, we're going to look for God in the mirror. And so they went up to that big mirror, and the two of them stood there, and they looked. What do you think they saw? Yeah, they saw themselves. And they looked, and what they saw in that mirror was so special and so wonderful and absolutely amazing. And they turned, and they ran back to home base, and they said, we found God. We found God in us. So at this point, everybody had come back to home base, and God came back. And God came back and said, that was so much fun. Didn't I find some cool spots to hide? And he said, some of you found me. Others weren't so sure. Some of you are still out there looking. Some people are still looking for God. And that's okay. Because the most important thing is to just keep playing the game. Let's do it again. God wants to go again. Same rules, same format. I'm sure I can think of some other good places to hide. And they called out, Holly, Holly, Oxenfree! And everybody ran. Where do you think God hid this time? Anybody have an idea?
The river?
Ooh, that's a good one. Where do you think God hid this time? Did you have it?
In us.
In us, yeah?
Out there in the trees.
In the trees.
In our hearts.
In our hearts. Anybody else have an idea where God was hiding this time? Yeah, there's lots of great places. In your coffee, Walter's God is in his coffee, just hiding there. Just hiding there. Well, thank you, everyone, for sharing this story with me this morning. And I encourage you, since our theme this month is mystery, to keep looking for the mystery and the wonder out there, okay? And when you see something, too, see what else is there, just not a piece of grass, but what else you might find there, okay? We are going to get ready for next week's pageant, and so we're going to go all the way down to the end of the hall. Let's sing the children out with our children's blessing.
Please join me now in the spirit of meditation and of prayer. I will hold firm to the fact that God is in coffee. Go ahead and laugh. Thank you. But I hold that coffee, that any warm beverage in a mug between two people facilitates communication. Oftentimes, when tasked with a difficult conversation, I will say, "Do you want to get coffee?" Oftentimes, with tasked with a fun conversation, I will ask, "Do you want to get coffee?" The act of sitting down over something warm, the act of letting go of pretension, the act of being vulnerable with your hands around a warm ceramic mug and opening yourself to the other. You ask, where do we find God? I say we find it in the connections we make to each other. I say we find it in those moments of vulnerability, of joy, of depth. I say God is not in the grass, but in our seeing the grass and in the grass. It is the connections we make to the world around us, to each other, the deeper connections we bring to ourself. That is where we find the divine. The divine is always within each and every one of you, friends. And if you ever forget it, I would be glad to get a cup of coffee with you. We think of all of the joys and sorrows from members of our congregation during this week. I want to lift up again that this holiday season can be very trying for a lot of us. I encourage you all to take time to take care and to love yourselves and to love your neighbors especially, to check in on them. Nell Keller, who has been hospitalized, will be getting out this Tuesday. And we are so glad that she is on the road to recovery. And we would love for people to visit and check in with her. Nell needs her peeps, as we all do. Often we come into this space with different things weighing on our hearts. If there is something that has been holding you back, something that weighs heavy on you, while we sing Spirit of Life, I encourage you to come to our stone of altars, or altar of stones, one more cup of coffee, to come to our altar of stones, to take what is weighing on your heart, to put it on the stone, and to release it into the water. And if there is something that lifts your step, that brings you joy, I encourage you, please, to do the same. Place that joy on this stone so its ripples may reach us all. And if you would like to have me contact you this week, let me know. Take my hand, touch my shoulder, wink, and I will try to make contact with you this week. Sue Gross from our lay pastoral care team is also here. And if you would like some from lay pastoral care to visit you, let Sue know. Now, please join us as we sing Spirit of Life.
Our faith is centered on the belief that we can make this world a better place for all who dwell in it. In order to realize that vision, we need both the motivation and the means. Your donation helps the community put its faith into action by supporting our programming and our facilities. All donations collected today that are not specifically marked otherwise will be split with Orville Friendship Meals. Orville Friendship Meals is a nonprofit that serves a free dinner on the second, third, fourth, and fifth Thursday of the month. Join me in this unison reading. The words are on the screen. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many of us do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. Today's reading is the poem The Atheist Prays by Barbara Peskin. I am praying again. And how does one pray when unsure if anything hears? In the world I know as relatable and finite, when time and matter cycle back and forth and I understand the answers to so many puzzles, there are moments when knowing is nothing. And I, this accumulation of systems, histories, repetition falls from me. How does one who is sure there is nothing pray? I, dark gathered around my eyes, sit in this room cluttered with my certainties, asking my one unanswered question, holding myself perfectly still to listen, fixing my gaze just here, wondering.
So there's a common misconception that religion and science cannot coexist. And I blame the Catholic Church. Specifically, when they prosecuted Galileo for heresy in 1633. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the story, Galileo had been looking through his telescopes and noted that the moons of Jupiter revolved around Jupiter and not the Earth. And the belief at the time was the Earth was the center of the universe, and that the sun and the planets revolved around it. Now, the biblical support for this perspective came from a few various Bible verses that talked about the sun setting and rising. Obviously, if the sun stays still, it can't do these things. And there are also Bible verses about the sun standing still at various calamities. And if it's already standing still, obviously, it must be revolving around us. Galileo's claim that the celestial bodies and how they moved happened countered the narrative of the Catholic Church in a very, very, very small way. And the Catholic Church said, no, you can't do that. And they made Galileo recant. And yet it moves. We've had similar instances of science versus religion since then. The Scopes monkey trials. For those of you who are unaware, John T. Scopes was a teacher who was tried in Tennessee for violating the state's Butler Act in 1925. The Butler Act prohibited teachers from denying the creation story from the Bible and denied them teaching Darwin's theory of evolution. More recently, when it comes to theology versus religion, we had quite a few denominations say that vaccines weren't effective. Oh, indeed. Despite the fact that there is plenty of scientific evidence to the contrary. So there's a lot that we can point to when we say that science and religion cannot coexist. And I don't think that's true. How many of you know which mainline Protestant denomination supports evolution? Methodists. Oh, and the Lutherans. Oh, the Episcopalians, the Congregationalists, the United Church of Christ, and the Baptists. Really? The Baptists, not all of them, but the main denomination. Yes. The Unitarian Universalist, we said mainline Christian denominations. Presbyterian, yeah, probably. Most of them do. There are still some groups that are literalists when it comes to the Bible, but they are in the minority, even in the Christian groups. Most modern Orthodox branches of Judaism accept the theory of evolution. The ultra-Orthodox, not so much. And the Catholics. The Catholics no longer insist on strict creationism. The idea that the earth was created in 6 days. And in 1950s, they issued a statement. The church, the Catholic Church, will no longer argue with scientists on such matters as the age of the earth or the authenticity of fossils. That was not the truth the Catholic Church was interested in. That's not the truth they're interested in. This points to, for me, what I see as two types of truth. And you may have heard me talk about this before. There is capital T truth, and there is lowercase t truth. Now, most of us are familiar with what we call the little t truth, factual and verifiable. Things like the sun is 93 million miles away from the earth. Factual, verifiable, right? The earth revolves around the sun. Thank you, Galileo and Copernicus. The speed of light is constant. 300, it's just under 300 million meters per second. Little t truth. Little t truth is what we learn in school, and it's what science is in pursuit of. Big T truth. Big T truth is what religious communities and philosophy departments deal with, and is a lot more esoteric. It deals with the questions that very often do not have verifiable answers. What is my purpose in this world? Does my consciousness end when I die? How do I find comfort in times of trouble? These are the questions that science cannot answer directly. And they challenge us. They challenge us to find our own truth. And that can be scary. It can be scary when you are in the search of an answer and you discover that things don't come in neat little black and white polarized packages. As Unitarian Universalists, we tend to really love our little t truths. How many scientists do I have in the building? How many teachers? I rest my case. Little t truth is comfortable. It's verifiable, it's finite, and it's concrete. And those things, when we are in the search, bring us comfort. And as a denomination, it can be hard to deal with the big T truth. Asking a question and finding out that there is no specific answer. That can be unsettling. And since we have no creed or dogma to tell us what our answers to the big T truth should be, that puts the responsibility on each and every one of you. As a denomination, we do not give you the answer to these challenging questions. Instead, we challenge each other to sit in mystery. Going back to the Scopes Monkey trials, anyone know about the play or the movie Inherit the Wind? Yeah, fictionalization of the Scopes Monkey trials. One of my favorite pieces of theater. And there is a line in there that I absolutely love. Let me set the scene for you. Everybody knows it's about the Scopes Monkey trial, so this is during the trial. The prosecuting attorney, who is the local area minister, who's a little bit of a firebrand, has put up on the witness stand not the teacher, but his fiancée, who is a daughter of another minister, right? Oh boy, indeed, because he starts asking her why the teacher, her fiancé, left the church. And the reason he left the church was because he had this 11-year-old boy that he was teaching that had not been baptized and who died in a tragic drowning accident. And when the minister talked about it the next day, he told everybody in that congregation that that child's soul was burning in hell. Little outraged. In the play, the teacher who was listening to this on the defense stand was also outraged. And of course, in any good trial scene, you have to have somebody, when they're outraged, stand up behind the table and make a statement out of context. And he said out loud, "Religion is supposed to comfort people, not frighten them to death." Amen. That line has lived with me ever since I read that play at 19 years old. I firmly believe that religion is supposed to comfort people and not frightened to death. Be frightened to death. And for many folks, the comfort that religion brings comes from being handed the answers to the big T questions. Assuring people that, yeah, there is rhyme and reason to this existence, even if we don't comprehend it. And the problem is when we try to make those big T questions defined in black and white with little t answers, telling people that this is good behavior, this is a sin, and there is no in between, what we end up creating is dogma. And there is no nuance. There is no mystery in dogma. And we in our denomination are blessed with the challenge to find the nuance between those different types of truth. To find not only the shades of gray between those black and whites, but to find every single color in the spectrum. We understand that this invitation to question means we don't always get a comforting answer. So if religion is supposed to comfort people and not frighten them to death, how do we find comfort in a theology that embraces nuance and mystery when we live in a world that insists that comfort comes from concrete answers? I say, we go against the norm. Let's find comfort in the mystery. This morning's reading, the atheist prays. That last bit speaks to that, and I love it. I, dark gathered around my eyes, sit in this room cluttered with my certainties, asking my one unanswered question, holding myself perfectly still to listen, fixing my gaze, just here, wondering. Instead of trying to solve the mystery, we need to welcome it. Welcome it as an opportunity to better understand ourselves and the world around us. Asking the big T questions, knowing there cannot be an answer, gives us an opportunity to grow. For example, let's ask a big T question. What is the meaning of life? Thank you. Also, to read a good book. Maybe your answer, aside from 42, thank you, Douglas Adams, maybe your answer is just to do good in the world. Okay, that's a good start for the meaning of life. But it does lead to more questions. Okay, how do you define what is good? What does doing good look like to you? Do you have to do good with every thought or with every action, or you could take a break to get a nap and a good meal every once in a while? What happens when you unintentionally do bad without meaning to while trying to do good? Like, let's say, buying coffee that has exploitative practices. Asking these big questions should lead to more questions. And that is how we begin to really consider how we bring meaning to our lives. If you try to answer big T truth questions with that little t truth answer, what happens? You get dogma that cannot be questioned. And when you cannot question, it stifles spiritual exploration and growth. By allowing ourselves to sit with mystery, we challenge ourselves to always be trying new things and to grow. We allow ourselves the gift of wonder. And this, my friends, this is where science and religion completely overlap. They become so similar. Both should be fueled by curiosity. Both should avoid confirmation bias. Both should be entered with openness, whether it be an open mind or an open heart. Both should be inviting more questions all of the time, and both should center on the process and welcome what it yields, especially if it yields more questions. Both are grounded in mystery. These are the reasons we gather together, my friends, to go through the scientific process of spirituality, to think about the mystery behind those big T truths, to sit with them and consider how they affect us and how we affect each other. And eventually, we may get to the point where we no longer need that specific final answer to those big T questions. We may get to the point where we realize that not having the answer is what leads to curiosity and to exploration and to growth. To understand that not having the answer is the answer. December is our month of mystery. Whether it is wondering about exactly what is under that box under the tree, because I know it's not the car I asked for, or wondering how this time of cold and darkness through the year somehow breeds a spirit of generosity amongst us. On these clear, beautiful December nights that happen, I challenge you to go outside, bundle up, and look up at that clear, star-filled sky. And I challenge you not to be filled with wonder. Yes, you may know the little T truths in that moment. You may know the names of some of those stars. You may know the constellations of which they are a part. You may realize that the light of those stars has been slowly traveling to this planet for over hundreds and hundreds of years. And these are things that are good to know. But the real joy is to look into the inky vastness of space, to just wonder, what else is out there? Look at how big it is. What are the odds that I would wind up on this tiny blue marble and be able to comprehend all of this beauty? Sit with the mystery, my friends. Listen to it. Let it teach you a different truth. May it be so. Are we ready to sing? I want some answers, and there are some answers in this hymn. So please, I encourage you to rise in body and spirit as we sing our closing hymn, We Laugh, We Cry, number 354 in the gray hymnal.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die. We dance, we sing our song. We
Are you ready to play hide and seek? Are you ready to look at all of the little things in this life and try to find the beauty in them? Are you ready to lean into the mystery of the big T? Are you ready to embrace the spirit of wonder that comes this time of year? If not, that's okay. Let's go get coffee. May it be so.